This week's exercise is about animals. Animals are our kin, our fellow mobile inhabitants of the earth. From fish to apes, humans carry the characteristics of our ancestral heritage in our spines, hands, and the swing of our hips. Diverse body forms reveal the uniqueness of each individual species, as well as shared traits. As we value the wilderness of our relatives, such as elegant liquid movements of the leopard, the fierce armor of the hermit crab and snapping turtle, the haunting voices of porpoises, can we see this diversity reflected in ourselves? Humans, as animals, are part of the phylum Chordates and the subphylum Vertebrates, which includes all animals possessing an internal bony skeleton and most specifically a jointed backbone. Within the 18 orders of living mammals, humans evolved from the order Primates, which includes tree shrews, lemurs, and anthropoids. Anthropoids further divide into New World and Old World monkeys, of which we follow the Old World lineage. Humans and apes, or hominoids, eventually separated from other Old World monkeys some 20 million years ago. Humans, or hominids, from apes some 5 million years ago. Our nearest ape cousins are the chimpanzees, with whom we share 99% of our genetic material. Like humans, primates rely on vision other than on smell, which is dominant in most other mammals. They are adapted to tree living with grasping hands and feet for climbing. Primate mothers carry their babies on their bodies, developing a strong infant-mother bond. Primates eat insects and fruits and leaves, and occasionally lizards, tree frogs, birds, bird eggs, and smaller mammals. Humans retain all of the omnivorous habits of primates, eating everything, altered by culture and economic forces that often determine what, how, and when we eat. Another important characteristic of primates is that we live in year-round social groups of both sexes and all ages. The way primates use space and establish territorial boundaries are reflected in our locomotor system and social organizations. As we study an area with many animals, such as Wyoming grazing lands in the United States or the Masai Mara Game Reserve in Kenya, we first notice the large abundance of herbivores. In the American West, you can still see remnants of herds of migrating elk and the occasional reintroduced bison, plus smaller animals such as deer, groundhogs, rabbits, and mice, which provide food for foxes, coyotes, wolves, and an occasional grizzly bear. This species diversity reflects a balance of predator and prey, as well as sufficient migration corridors for stable and healthy animal populations. In the Masai Mara, the presence of herbivores, such as the massive herds of migrating wildebeests and the all too infrequent rhinoceros, supports many carnivores, including mongooses, leopards, and cheetahs. Animals live side by side. Observing hunting interactions in Kenya, one notices that the cheetah, the fastest of all animals, strides across the plains in full view of the zebras and gazelles. Prides of lions lounge under trees nearby, playing with offspring. The vulnerable prey remain alert but rarely bolt unless a cat is on the chase. The prey actually move with the predators, seeming to prefer keeping them in sight. The carnivores generally attack the elderly, injured, or feeble members of the herds during migration, ensuring the health of the species and secondarily the ecosystem. After a kill, many carnivores feed on a carcass in a clearly defined hierarchy, beginning with the primary hunter, followed by scavengers such as the hyenas, and finally the vultures who pick the carcass clean until only the bones remain to slowly reabsorb into the earth. This cyclical interdependence is reflected in larger food webs, which are composed of different trophic levels. Since photosynthetic plants, algae, and bacteria are producers that convert sunlight into energy to make their own food, they represent the first trophic level. The primary consumers are animals, or herbivores, that feed on these plants, and the secondary consumers, carnivores, feed on the herbivores. Humans, as we have seen, are primarily omnivores, although some, influenced by ethical, culture, and economic motives, restrict diets to vegetarian fare. Scavengers feed on dead plants and animal bodies, and decomposers are fungi and bacteria that digest organic matter essential to soil health. Scavengers and decomposers play essential roles in cyclic life processes, cleaning the landscape and returning basic nutrients to the soil. Keystone species are primary participants in an ecosystem. Their presence or absence determines the structure and balance of the whole system. A top predator, such as a wolf, can be a keystone species, maintaining limits on mammal populations. A beaver is a keystone species in a river system, shaping the structure and flow of waterways, influencing both habitat and food supply. As top predators, humans are an integral part of life processes. We are the primary threat to many animals, such as bobcats and wolves and elephants. Since we have killed or removed most of the top predators from the landscape, we now monitor populations of such animals as deer, caribou, and elk. Because of our role as top predator, hunting is part of the ecological balance. Often, hunters know the woods and attend to the health of animals more than does the general public that buys saran-wrapped meat in the supermarket. Although it is easy to denigrate hunters from the ease of our living rooms and kitchens, they are often the most knowledgeable spokespersons for animals and habitat. A novice hunter focuses on the animal. A skilled hunter includes the landscape in which the animal lives, climate shifts and food supply, reproductive patterns, and the health of the species and the bioregion to determine when, where, and how many animals to hunt. This large view is useful for all of us, acknowledging our roles in the larger process of life. Predator and prey interactions keep populations healthy and in balance with the land. This dynamic occurs naturally in the landscapes if sufficient migration corridors are maintained and food supplies are intact. Bans on hunting, coupled with extinction of other predators, can cause havoc with the life cycles of various species. For example, overpopulations of deer strip forests, resulting in animal deaths due to insufficient food. Overpopulation of snow geese threaten the tundra. Human interference with the balance of predator and prey requires a comprehensive view, recognizing the interconnections of flora and fauna and movement corridors in relation to sustainable populations. Humans have complex relationships with animals, evolving through time, from being co-inhabitants on a landscape to husbandry and dominance. Bison-like animals are documented in caves, showing magical invocation for the hunt. Wolves were perhaps the first animal to cross the line. DNA studies show that wolves around human camps became partially domesticated as early as 100,000 years ago. Cats and birds were featured in Egyptian and Chinese paintings and tombs. Spear tips and stone tools for scraping hides date hunting on the American continent to around 12,000 years ago, with possibilities of much earlier habitation. Profound change occurred in the relationship between humans and animals when hunting and gathering cultures changed to agrarian communities, focusing on domestication of both plants and animals within a particular locale, some 10,000 years ago. Most humans today consider that the function of animals on our planet is for human use. Domesticated animals, those raised and bred by humans for food, work, entertainment, or pets, now replace wild species as primary resources for food and for companionship. Pets, in many cases, are a person's main contact with the natural world. Cats and other animals, birds, and fish in our homes, treated with awareness, can call forth affection and bring health to our bodies. Studies show that the presence of pets in nursing homes or hospitals helps in the process of healing. In many ways, animals remind us of our larger self, yet domesticating animals often reduces their ability to survive in the wild without human intervention. Animals are bred for characteristics useful or entertaining to humans. This often undercuts survival instincts and fosters ignorance of the land and the life processes of the wild. Many breeds of cows and sheep are literally too dumb to come in and out of the rain or to birth their offspring without assistance. Overbreeding and interbreeding dogs creates problems such as hip dysplasia. Cocker spaniels were bred for bulging eyes because it looks cute, but it is dangerous for the animal. Barnyard chickens and geese no longer fly. Domestication of animals instills an illusion of human control over the natural world, including a rather patronizing attitude towards all animals. Wild species are considered dangerous because they are a threat to domestication. For instance, we shoot coyotes because they eat cats, young calves, and sheep. We shoot wolves because they eat cattle, and we kill grizzly bears because they will kill us. As we value ease of control above intelligence and interdependence in animals, we are systematically removing the wildness from our landscapes. Wildness reflects our own deep nature in a way that domesticated animals never can. We will miss the powerful image of instinctual, alert independence and curiosity when the last Siberian tiger is shot or the last white rhino is poached. Like the passenger pigeons that once filled our American skies and the gentle manatees now generally absent from our saltwater streams, many species are extinct or becoming so. Plants that provide food, habitat, and water for our animals are being destroyed at an even more rapid rate, influencing the presence of wildness around us. Animals' absence from a landscape warns of the serious imbalance in the ecosystem. Silence, as Rachel Carson reminded us in Silent Spring, is a warning. Birds, particularly the sharp-sighted predators, eagles, osprey, and peregrine falcons, almost became extinct in the United States as pesticides like DDT were sprayed on fields, which made their egg shells so thin that their offspring were born dead in the nests. Trout and salmon can live only in clean-flowing water within a particular temperature range. A fishless stream warns us against swimming and drinking. Absence of songbirds identifies loss of habitat in far-reaching areas of migration. Soil without worms or beetles reflects overuse of herbicides and pesticides or erosion of nutrient-rich topsoil. Insects such as stonefly nymphs, mayfly nymphs, caddisfly larvae, dragonfly nymphs, and midge larvae, plus worms, clams, crayfish, indicate a healthy stream and river habitat. Although we should protect our wild animals solely for themselves and the health of our earth, humans too will suffer with the great loss. To think about encounters with animals is to feel connected once again to who we are and where we come from. Animals are our kin. In an era of rapid change and alteration of habitat, our awareness of animals is essential. Those at all levels of the food chain, as components of the human psyche and as reflections of our own instinctive nature. They are our daily companions, be it the dog at our side or the wild elk on the distant horizon. Our attitudes affect the lives and deaths and futures of our animal relatives.